So I've been working on Someday My Prince Will Come, and I've gotten to this point of the song where there's this 2-5-1 turnaround on the repeat that takes me back to the top of the head. And it's got this nice static melody note here, which offers me an opportunity to maybe sort of mix it up a bit and break out of the typical routine sort of ways I might play a 2-5-1. And one great way to do that is by throwing in some upper structures. Specifically what we're gonna try today is some upper structure quartals. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna take some of the upper structure quartal concepts that we talked about in our upper structure series, season 2 upper structure quartals, and we're gonna apply them at random here to see what I can do to break myself from this sort of musical normalcy bias. Some of these routines I just kind of maybe automatically fall into, and see what kind of like new ideas might arise from just kind of using these tried and tested concepts that we teach in our series, and more to the point, doing them at random. So just like our last video, check that out if you haven't done so yet. We're going to lay out here all of the options as it relates to all of the episodes from season 2 of Upper Structure Fridays Quartals. So here I have my seven upper structures that pair well with minor 7 chords or minor 7 flat 5 if we're gonna borrow from minor. And here I have the 10 options that pair well with chords in the dominant region, specifically our dominant 7 chord. And then over here I have the 4 options for upper structures that go well with our 1 chord. So if I do the math, again, what I'll get is 7 times 4 times 10 for a grand total of 280 different options that I can get at random. So let's do this. Let's throw all these options into our grab bags labeled accordingly to their lower structures and see what we get if we start grabbing stuff at random. So we've gone ahead and thrown all of our options into their corresponding grab bags here. So all of my upper structures that pair well with minor 7 chords down here. So we're using that as a 2 minor 7. And again, minor 7 flat 5 is always an option as it relates to our 2 minor 7 because we would be borrowing from minor if we're doing that. If you're not clear on how that works, check out our channel. We have plenty of videos that explain a lot of harmonic techniques like borrowing from minor. But moving on, then we would have our dominant 7 chord here. That's represented by this bag here. So all the upper structures that pair well with dominant 7 chords are in this bag. And then we're gonna end on a 1 major 7 right there. So let's go ahead and go into our bag, grab at random some upper structures, and then plug them on up here, relate them to the key that we're in, and see what we get. So first bag here we have our 2 chord, our minor 7 or minor 7 flat 5. Let's see, what do we have? All right, so a 5-4-7 over a minor 7 chord from episode 13 of Upper Structure Fridays, season 2, Quartals. So that would be, let's do this. So 5-4-7. 5-4-7 over 2 minor 7. Next, let's go to the dominant grab bag here and see if we can get something for our 5 chord. And I have this, a flat 3-4-7 over dominant 7 from episode 7. We're gonna plug that bad boy in here. Flat 3, oh, that is an awful flat sign. Oh my goodness, apologies. Flat 3-4-7 over 5-7. Last but not least, our point of resolution, the 1 major 7 chord, and we have, what do we have? 7-4-7 over major 7 from episode 15. All right, 7-4-7 over a 1 major 7. Now, if I relate all of this to the key that we're in, Someday My Prince Will Come is in B flat. This is what we'll get. Let's break this down. Let's break this down 1 chord at a time. So the 2 chord in the key of B flat is C minor 7. The 5 chord is F 7. And our 1 chord, of course, is B flat, major 7. Now, all the upper structures we grabbed before will look like this. What is the 5 of C? G. So I need a G 4, 7 on top of C minor 7. That's going to be our first chord there. Now the flat 3 of F is A flat, so an A flat 4, 7. Pardon the penmanship. And lastly, our one chord is B flat major 7. We have a 7, 4, 7. What's the 7 of B flat? A. So I need an A 4, 7 over B flat major 7. So here we have our chord progression mapped out. Let's go over to the keyboard and break this down. So first, let's take a look at the 3 upper structure chordals we got from our grab bags and play them in context as they would relate to the chord progression that we're applying it to. So I have G 4, 7, and then A flat 4, 7, and then A 4, 7. So we've actually sort of by chance created a cool little chromatic line here. All of the notes in all 3 upper structure chordals are moving parallel to one another, ascending. And when you hear this by itself, it sounds very alien and like it has nothing to do with the original progression. Remember, the original progression was just a 2, 5, 1 in B flat. Right? So there's our C minor 7, our F7, and our B flat major 7. And here's what we're going to pair with it. Right? So when you hear that at first glance, especially in a vacuum, or even right after the 2, 5, 1, it's kind of like, how is that going to work? And what is it going to sound like when we put it together? Well, let's check that out. So if I put my G 4, 7 with the C minor 7, so now that lower structure is offering a little bit more context, which helps us out a lot. And then I would move this. Here's the 5 chord. Here's the F7 on the bottom with the A flat 4, 7 on top. And then all of that resolves here. So when you hear them back to back to back, you get pretty awesome. So why does all of this work? Let's take a look at the chord names that we get and all the extensions and extra colors we're getting from these upper structure chordals to answer that. So first, let's look at our G 4, 7 over C minor 7 and see what we got here. So I'm playing a root 3rd and 7th on my left hand, my C, E flat, and B flat. And the G 4, 7 on the top gives me G, C, and F. So the C, I'm just doubling the root, so there's nothing special there. The G is just the 5th of the chord also. So we haven't really done anything crazy yet until I consider the F on top of the upper structure chord, or however you're voicing it, wherever it might be. The F is R11, and all of this is consistent with the Dorian scale, which is usually what informs the 2 chord. So all of this works really, really well. And what we're getting at the end of the day with all of this, with this upper structure chordal and my C minor 7 on the bottom, is just a C minor 7 with an 11. So I took my existing chord and just added some color to it while also revoicing it. And when you put it in context with what comes next, it gets even cooler. So what's going on here, right? So here I have my F7 on my left hand. I'm just playing the root 3rd and 7th again, F, A, and E flat. And now we have on top, we have an A flat, and a D flat, and a G flat. This is giving us an altered sound. So what I have here is basically an F7 altered. I have the sharp 9 up here in my upper structure chordal. I've got the flat 9, and I've got a flat 13. So every extension that I'm adding has been altered. And we're gonna get into in a minute into the theory of why all of this works, how such a drastic change from the original chord and chord scale pairing, how that makes sense. But just know for now, this is an F altered. I've got a flat 9, a sharp 9, and a flat 13. And then when I move my upper structure chordal up again, oh, that was A flat 7 over F7, by the way. Let's look at the A4 7 over B flat. So what I have here, I'm just playing a 5th on my left hand, the B flat and the F, and the upper structure chordal gives me an A, a D, and a G. So the A is the major 7 of the chord, the D is just the 3rd, nothing crazy there, and then what I have up here, this G is our 6, So you could probably perceive this chord one of two ways. You could see it as a B flat 6 with a major 7, or a B flat major 7 with a 6, because basically, more often than not, a 6 chord and a major 7 often function to serve the same purpose. So what your perspective is as to what you want to call this chord, 6 with a 7, 7 with a 6, it's really just 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. So if you just want to completely divorce yourself from the theory altogether, that's perfectly fine too, because now you know how to do it as it relates to a 2-5-1. If you have your 2 chord, just build your upper structural chordal from the 5th of that chord, and then go up chromatically from there, and all the theory is built in. Well, I hope that was useful, not too confusing, and also fun at the same time. Don't forget, a lot of the stuff we're talking about today stems from our upper structure series, of which we have 2 seasons. One completely designated to triads, upper structure triads, and the other season, season 2, focuses completely on what we were talking about today, upper structural chordals. Both these seasons are currently available as interactive PDFs, complete with video lessons, 12 key workouts, and demo songs showing you how we use these techniques over real jazz standards. And if you've already purchased these courses or any of our stuff, we really appreciate it. It really, really helps us continue to make more of this content that hopefully you guys enjoy and that is useful to you becoming the best musician you possibly can be. So having said that, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you next time. Hey YouTube, MDEX Music here, and welcome back to another episode of Upper Structure Fridays, a series where we look at how to use upper structures in piano voicings and improvisation. As always, make sure to watch the introduction to the series so that you understand what it is.